Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to show you 5 drills that are going to help you score more goals as a striker. Just before we get into them, I want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built my website, 7mlctraining.com. And from websites to analytics to marketing tools, they're the all-in-one place to grow your online presence and manage your business. But let's get to work. So the first 3 exercises are going to develop our confidence inside the box, receiving the ball in tight spaces and creating a yard of room to strike the ball. And then the final 2 exercises are going to include some off the ball movement to help us get into certain positions where we can score more goals. So jumping straight into the first exercise, and I'm going to be working with this mannequin who's just acting as a defender. And then I'm also going to be using a rebounder for all 5 exercises because it adds a little bit more match realism to it. If you don't have a rebounder, you can work with a teammate and still complete these exercises. But it's really important to add that match realism to your training, because if you look at the top strikers, players like Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, Lewandowski, you're going to see that not only do they have a great strike of the ball, really technical, but they're also very intelligent with their movements and their first touches to create chances to score more goals. So you need to add that realism to your training so you're a more intelligent striker on the pitch. So jumping straight into the first exercise here, we're going to be starting by receiving the ball from an angle. So I'm receiving it from 90 degrees in relation to my target and my defender. So the purpose of this exercise is to develop confidence with our first touch in tight spaces, because inside the box, if my first touch is loose and it gets too far out of my feet, defenders are just going to poke that away. So as the ball's on its way, quick scan, see where the defender is, and then we draw our foot away to take the sting out of the ball. So now we're in full control of it. It's underneath our body and we can dictate the next movement. Then the next movement has to be really sharp, because inside the box, defenders aren't going to lunge for the ball. It's very high risk of giving away a penalty, so they would much rather get in the way of the shot, try and block, or show you into a non-threatening position. So you're in a good position to push the ball out of your feet and then get a strike on goal. So as we receive this ball, we use this first touch to engage the defender, because if we stop, the defender's also going to stop, ready to block that strike. Then, if we immediately then shift the ball out of our feet to either side, create a yard of space and get the shot away quickly, it's going to be very difficult for this defender to recover. If they're in a high alert position and they stop for a second and then you immediately press the ball into one direction, they then have to react. And if you're fast enough, they're going to be a split second behind you, which is enough time to get that strike away. So there's 3 different types of touches we can take. We can use the inside of one foot, push it with the outside of the same foot and get that strike away. We can take it with the inside of our foot, use the outside of the opposite foot, get a strike on the opposite side of the goal, or we can go inside to inside. So receive the inside of one foot, inside of the other, and get that strike away. So work on all 3 so that you have all in your repertoire and you're more unpredictable in a match. But it's really important to minimize the time between that shift touch and the strike. You don't have to blast it. Accuracy is always king in these positions, but very important to try and get it out of the goalkeeper's reach, because from this kind of range, it's very difficult to react. So receive the ball, quick scan inside, and find the corners. Then you can take the rebounder on the opposite side and work in both directions. The more versatile you are inside the box, using both feet, is only going to create more chances to score for you as a striker. Moving into the second drill now, we're going to stay in the same scenario, but this time we're going to be more efficient with our touches. Sometimes in a match, if the defender's high alert, it's best to engage them, then shift the ball and get the finish away. But sometimes the defender's going to bite on your movement. They're going to try and get pressure on you immediately. So in these circumstances, you might need to take your first touch in a direction to evade that pressure so you can get the strike away. So what we're going to do, we're going to play the ball at the rebounder once again. This time we're going to take our first touch either side of that defender. So there's a couple of touches we can work on. We can work on that Tony Kroos, where we let it come across our body, then we snap it back in the other direction, which creates room to get a near post strike. Or we can let it come across our body, so we can drop the knee, drop the shoulder, take the touch on this side and get the strike away. Or we could use the outside of our closest foot, so we could just push it into this space here. Depending on the type of pressure you're receiving from the defender, will allow you to navigate this scenario. So what's really important is that we take our touch laterally. So from side to side. And then we need to be comfortable rotating our body for the finish. Harry Kane is a master of this technique, taking a slight touch to the side, having his hip facing the goal, and then wrapping around the ball, still remaining accurate and deadly with his strike. So the first touch we can work on is that Toni Kroos. We have a little glance over, snap it in this direction here. So what's really important, we'd be deceptive with our hips, show that we're about to go in this direction, and then snap it back across our body. And then we need to minimize the time between that touch and the strike, because this defender is going to recover as quickly as they can. So we're going to play the ball, quick glance to see the position of the defender. We notice that they're biting on the movement, so we take the touch to one side. So let it come across, snap, and then get the finish. We can also work on dropping the knee, dropping the shoulder, allowing it to come across our body. So we're using this almost as a body feint. The defender's going to bite on that movement, and then we take the touch to the side and get the shot on goal. So we play, drop the knee, drop the shoulder, and get that strike away. You can either take a first touch depending on the pace of the ball, or you can just take it first time. Then finally, we're going to work on receiving the ball with the outside of our foot. So it's coming across, quick touch to the side, and get the strike on goal. Again, I'd recommend working on a variety of touches so that you can stay deceptive in the box and have more solutions to different problems, and it's going to help you score more goals in a match. For each of these touches, I'd recommend 5 to 10 repetitions, and then move the rebounder on the opposite side so you can work on both feet, both striking and receiving. For the third exercise, we're going to master receiving the ball with our back to goal. And if you can master this as a striker, you're going to be a really valuable player. Being able to hold off defenders, receive the ball to feet under pressure, either to lay off for a teammate or spin and finish, is really going to help you create opportunities for your team. And a player who was unbelievable at doing this throughout their career was Thierry Henry. He had the ability to receive the ball inside the box with confidence, pinning that defender, being able to spin and create yards of space, and then put the ball in the back of the net. Something Thierry would do, he'd always have his hand on the defender. This allows him to know where that defender is at all times. So he either had his right arm or his left arm on the defender. Not only can this create a bit of separation between you and the defender, so they can't poke the ball from behind you, you can keep some distance, but it also allows you to track their movement. If they start trying to pinch in front and stab that ball, you know, because they're going to be pushing your arm away, so you can react to that movement. So this gives you an indication, even without looking, where this defender is and what movements they are producing. So it's going to allow you to navigate these scenarios more effectively while being able to keep your eye on the ball. So I'd recommend pinning that defender, getting your arm out there, being slightly side on, because this gives more distance between the defender and the ball, and then you can dictate the next movement. So first, we're going to work on receiving the ball to engage that defender, then spinning and finishing. So we're going to receive the ball with a good first touch. So as we receive it, we want our furthest foot away from the ball to create that distance between the defender and the ball to protect it. And then we can create a movement. So we can either step to this side, a little body feint, shift it out of our feet and get the strike away, or we can do the opposite. But these subtle movements inside the box are really going to have those defenders reacting. They're going to be on high alert. So even a subtle body feint to one side and then shifting it a couple of meters in the opposite direction is all you need to create space to shoot. So we're going to receive the ball, know where the defender is, touch, body feint, and get that finish away. For the second variation, we're going to work on taking the ball with our first touch, being more efficient with our movements. So this is when the defender's trying to pinch the ball, get in front of you, and you can feel with your arm. If they're trying to go to one side, you can spin in the opposite direction. So if I'm this defender and I can feel with my arm, they're trying to get around me to pinch that ball on the left side, I now know I have space on the opposite side. So that's where I should take my first touch to give myself a chance of scoring. So if I feel the defender is pinching, I can take the touch to the side and then fire the ball into the corner. For both of these movements, both engaging the defender with your first touch and spinning and taking your first touch all in one movement, I'd recommend 5 to 10 repetitions going in both directions, so you're getting equal repetitions on both feet. And as a bonus, I'd also recommend receiving the ball in the air. So if you're working with a rebounder, flip it at an angle so you can receive the ball in the air, or if you're working with a partner, get them to throw the ball at you to receive the ball with your chest, your thigh, your feet, both taking a touch and then engaging the defender before spinning, as well as taking the touch all in one motion to hit the ball in the back of the net. For the fourth drill, we're going to introduce some off the ball movement. Because as a striker, not only is it important what you do on the ball in terms of a good quality first touch and clean striking ability to put the ball in the corners, which when you're in goal scoring opportunities, is going to allow you to put the ball past the goalkeeper. But it's also really important to master what you do off the ball, because your off the ball movement is what unlocks opportunities to score. It's all well and good having a really good technique, hitting those corners with consistency, but if you're not getting into positions where you can unlock those abilities and actually get strikes away, you're not going to be effective as a striker. So this first exercise here, we've put the rebounder about at the edge of the D here. So again, if you're working with a teammate, you can just work on having them feed the ball in behind. But we're going to be working on checking to the ball and then checking away in behind. So the scenario we're recreating is as a number 9, you're checking in to receive the ball from your midfielder or your winger, making it seem like you want the ball to feet, and then you're going to spin in behind. Because this first movement, the checking towards the ball, is going to drag that defender with you. They all want to stay tight so you can't spin them, and they want to put pressure on you. So if you're sharp with the second movement, that split second that they need to react to your movement is sometimes all you need to get in behind. So we're checking towards the ball, and then we're checking in behind. So to reenact this with a rebounder, we're going to play the pass, check towards the rebounder, plant, load up that leg so you can explode away and latch on to the through ball. And then you want to get onto that ball as quickly as possible and also minimize the time between your touches and your finish. The closer you get to the goal, the goalkeeper's going to narrow down that angle. So as soon as we see an opening, it's important to get that finish off quickly. Trying to get it with accuracy into the corners, using the inside of your foot or the laces if you're confident with it. But trying to find the corners is really going to help you in these scenarios. Keepers will usually rush out, so the longer you take, the more difficult it is to score. So getting that shot away quickly is going to help you score more goals. So we play the ball, check, latch on, and then find the corner as early as possible. Then it's really important to get an equal amount of repetitions on both sides. So making those diagonal runs in both directions and practicing with both feet is only going to double your goal scoring ability. So we check towards, in behind, inside foot, and finish. So work on 5 to 10 repetitions with both feet, focusing on the quality and consistency, and then also work on balls in the air, because the ball isn't always going to be played along the ground. So you can either turn the rebounder over or have your teammate clip the ball over the top, make that same checking to and checking away movement, run onto the ball while it's in the air, either letting it bounce and striking first time or getting it under control and then finding the corner. And for the 5th and final drill, we're going to work on first time finishing. So although it's really important to have a good technical foundation as a striker, so you can solve different problems in and around the box with your first touch, deceptive movements, and a clean strike on goal, some of the most clinical strikers on the planet score so many goals just with deceptive movement in the box and first time finishing, getting into these spaces to receive the ball and tapping it in the back of the net. So the scenario that we're going to be reenacting is our winger has drove down the end line and they're playing the ball across the box along the ground or in the air, and we're going to get a first time finish on goal. So it's really important to master the timing. Although it looks easy, scoring tap-ins is not an easy job because you have to be focused, hitting through the middle of the ball so you don't blaze it over the crossbar. And also you need to be efficient with your movement to get into these spaces to receive that ball, because the defenders are on high alert, they're going to be tracking you, so you need to be deceptive with those movements to lose the defender so you can have time and space to finish the ball. So to reenact this, I've placed the rebound board at a 45-degree angle so that the return pass is coming at a similar angle to which your winger would be playing a pass. So we're going to play it at the rebound board and then we're going to make a looping run around the opposite side of the defender. So this is when you're inside the box, you've got a defender on you, you see your winger driving, so you're losing your defender and then checking into the space here to take a first time strike on goal. So we're going to reenact this with the rebounder. So we play the pass at the rebounder, check around, get in front of that defender, and then wrap the ball into the corners. So really important to be deliberate with this run. We're taking the defender away into this space, and then we're changing the angle of our run. I'm not just jogging at one speed into this area. That's going to be very easy to track for the defender. I'm changing the movement. So it's almost a double action. So I'm checking into here and then into here to strike the ball And then with the strike, really focus on the middle of the ball. Because it's rolling, it's all about timing. So if you stay focused and locked in exactly where you want to hit the ball, it's going to increase your chances of connecting on that exact part of the ball. Recommend using the inside of your foot for the most accuracy, provides the cleanest and widest surface area to get a good strong contact on the ball, and then just follow through towards your target, keeping your chest over the ball upon contact. So let's look at it again. So we play the ball, check away, check two, and then we can hit it near post as well. I recommend both going across goal and near post with your finishes. Vary up so you're more equipped for different scenarios that you'll find yourself in during a match. Then of course put the rebounder on the opposite side and do the exact same thing with your left foot, getting an equal amount of reps on both feet. But the key tip I'm going to leave you with is to analyze the best strikers. When you're watching the best strikers on the planet, they're providing a blueprint not only with what they do on the ball, but off the ball. And the more you watch full-length matches, because not every run on goal ends up with a converted goal. Sometimes they'll make a good run, the ball will maybe not make it, or they'll miss the chance. But it's important to analyze strikers' movements, not only what they're doing on the ball. Don't just look at different goal highlights from different strikers. Watch full-length matches and see how many runs they're making during a match, what they're doing off the ball, what they're doing on the ball, and see what you can apply to your own game. So there we have it, 5 exercises that you can do as a striker to help you score more goals. And just before I go, I want to say another huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built my very own website, www.7mlctraining.com. And it's become the central hub of my entire brand and has allowed me to put everything 7MLC training related in one place, from my blog posts to my podcasts, as well as my very own 7-day training programs. And if you enjoyed today's exercises and you want a full, comprehensive striker training program, I'd recommend checking out Golasso. I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below. But if you've ever considered building a website and you don't know where to start, check out Squarespace. And if you use the link in my description, www.squarespace.com/7mlc, you can get 10% off your first website. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.